What's going on, guys? This is Danny Summers with Intercept MMA. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys can, please hit like and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell. That way, anytime we're putting out new videos, new content, new fight breakdowns, you guys can see it first. What's going on, guys? Coach Jam here with Coach Tyler. What we're going to be getting into is working from a topside half guard, where we're starting to apply shoulder pressure, looking to kind of turn our body and rotate it, and using that and forcing our way into like a 3/4 mount. Once you get 3/4 mount, I mean, again, depending on sport, you can kind of dictate which position you want to go into next, but utilizing pressure on top and forcing this person into a position where they can't turn and shrimp away from us, and that almost makes that next transition to 3/4 mount a lot easier. Not to say it's always going to be that easy with everyone you go with, but it's definitely a good position to pin someone down in. So if I start off on top in half guard, a lot of the times a traditional half guard, if I just go with locking my hands and doing this could be good, but it's not always great, because if his head can turn in this direction, he can start to escape his hips. And once he can start to escape his hips, this is where I can start to lose him, right? Not only can I not flatten him out, but also if he escapes his hips, he has more options to start coming up, entering into his butterfly, sweeping me, all that stuff. So when we start in this position, my right hand that's underneath the head is gonna come into his armpit, and I'm gonna look to just try to pull his head. When I pull his head, I want to get shoulder pressure immediately. Once I start getting shoulder pressure, my left hand as a post, I'm going to start to lift my hips, but when I lift my hips, I'm going to point my knees at his hip line. And again, trying to be as nice as I can, I'm going to put all of my weight on Tyler's face, so I'm pinning him, but also making it hard for him to turn in that direction. As I start to apply that pressure, I'm going to continue to walk to my left. As I do, and I start to get his hips squared to the ceiling, then I can start to turn his knees in that direction, and then I can start pulling my knee through to a 3/4. Now again, once I get 3/4 mount, this doesn't mean like I'm in the most dominant position ever. There's still a lot of things that he can do from this position. So when we get here, we want to ensure I'm maintaining shoulder pressure. Now I can start walking up, getting my underhook, getting control of his head, and then I can either A, try to double underhook and pass on one side, B, lift my hips, start passing the other side. You can obviously go into your ninja rolls from this position too, or if it's MMA, I can come up and start looking for opportunities to strike. But again, if I'm starting off in this half guard position, I don't want to just always rely on a traditional half guard, because again, traditional half guard, there's still room for him to escape this position. And if I get into my head where I'm like, well, why don't I just tuck my knees super tight to him? I can still get swept from this position too. There's not a lot stopping him from taking me over. So again, right hand comes through to the armpit. I pull his head into my shoulder. I'm going to start to bring my knees off the ground and apply that pressure on top. From there, I'm walking my feet until I feel my knee can start to sneak through. And now I'm in a more dominant position as long as I control. So if I can, right away, I want to try to control this arm and control his head. If I let him get his arms in position and start to frame, now there's still a lot of things that he can do to off-balance me and attack. So I have to make sure I'm keeping the head, controlling the arm. Ideally, if I can get double underhooks, even better, because then I can pass on both sides. It doesn't mean I can pass this way. It just means you're putting yourself more in a position where he can take your back if you don't have a good headlock game. So a lot of times if we get here, if I raise my hips and pass my knee the other way, now I can start looking to pass to a more dominant position, like side control and things like that. But again, utilizing pressure on top, getting him to look in one direction so he can't escape in that direction, and then from there, walking my hips, squaring him up, and getting my knee clear so I can pass it right to 3/4. He's probably still going to hang on to my leg, which we should expect, but that's fine. Again, it's a position that we should know. So when I get there, having follow-ups, whether I'm passing the side control, double unders, and passing side control on one side, going into my ninja rolls and finding different routes that I can take based off different reactions I might get from this person on bottom. But again, shoulder pressure is going to be king. When we're doing this, he should feel that. So when you're repping it, your partner should tell you like, hey, I'm feeling the pressure here, I'm feeling the pressure here. If they're not feeling any pressure at all, communicate that. But when I get to that position, a lot of the weight is going to be here, so I'm pinning him, flattening him, turning his head, and then I'm pointing my knees in the same direction so I can keep that pressure and I'm not giving him a chance to work back to full guard. Give it a try.